we invite you to our table as we create a lavish holiday display inspired by the theme that many hands make light work. Each of us contributed something and then decorated with holiday decor and everyday objects gathered from around the house. Okay, so we have my very good friend Teri Whitney is here to join the party and the creative genius that she is. So Teri, what did you bring for the table, for the nibble table, the grazing table?
So I brought you some of my home decor that I like to do. I tend to go a lot more neutral when I do my Christmas because I found the red, throwing a lot of red in my house was stressing me out, so I went more neutral. And that way it's more of a little vignette or surprise around the corner or everywhere. So for me, like I add a little bit of glitter and shine. I never have glitter and shine in my house, so I have something like this in there. We've taken a bunch of pine cones and we bleached them and we just tuck those in everywhere in a big bowl or something. These are a fun little heirloom that somebody saved me my father's baby blocks, and so I decorated them, put little trees on them, and we use those down the table. What else? I use just like something like this, just big and kind of clear, so it doesn't feel obnoxious when it's kind of neutral. I've also I always kind of gather funny little things. These are from our son's wedding, and so I just put some little stuff in there. You can put a little name card in there or a candle. That's fun. Here's another little gift to give. It's just kind of a fun way to use up what you have, but also to bring some specialness to it, because the whole idea is you want to celebrate out of the ordinary. You're trying to bring some joy into a season that can be really a lot of other things going on, right? So these are like Christmas cards stuck on little wood ornaments. Put some tape on them, or make like since I don't write fancy, I just put a wreath on that one. The other fun tradition that we have at our table is about 10 years ago or more, wow, somebody told me they collect these cute little wind-up toys, and they put them on their table for the adults to use so that they have toys at their grown-up table, right? So anyway, it's just kind of a fun little collection that we've started over the years. It's become a tradition at our table, and that's kind of fun. And the other, one last thing was pretty generic but fun to do. You just take, we had for some reason had hundreds of clothespins at our house, so we glued all these together and we made cute little ornaments to put on a gift or whatever. Super inexpensive, very fun, easy. And the last thing we added this year was this book, The Expected One, and it takes you through, our kids are all adults now, so they're going through this with us, but this book is set for people with children. It gives you the answer, so if they ask a question, you'll be like, I know that answer. So it's been a really neat way to talk about how Christmas was planned from the beginning, and how it's not just something that surprises us or catches us off guard, but it's something God intended as part of his promises from creation. So
Love it.
there you go.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. So fun.
I wanted to bring things that I use a lot. I use these placemats a lot.
Okay.
And I love using chargers because I love having layers when I'm setting a table. I have these Christmas napkins that I got. I think I got those at Target. I thought these could be nice for napkin rings if we want to put the napkins in rings. We can even decorate them somehow. I have these cranberries. I thought it would be fun to string them with some thread and a needle, and we can use those to decorate the table. Can never have enough ribbon or twine. These are just some fun little berry sprays. And I have these stamps, these letter stamps, that I thought what we could do is lay out the butcher paper, and we can use them to stamp messages, or we can even draw out some messages on the paper, or label what we're putting on the paper as far as the food is concerned. I've got twinkle lights because lights make everything better. And I brought, I made some cinnamon pecans that we can share the recipe for later. And I like elevation too, so I had this on my dining table, and I pulled that.
Nice.
So we could use that too.
Okay, what I brought is not nearly as glittery or fancy, but I have an affinity for like old wood that looks like it should be thrown out. So I love Elevation, kind of what you said, Danielle, as well. So, and I don't know if we're going to be using these things or not, but I just like them. So this little stool could be something that we use. We could put a platter on top of this. We could put stacks of mugs or bowls on top of this or something like that. So that's kind of a fun little thing we can do. I also I was in charge of the flora and fauna. So you can go out and in the dark of night, if you want to, and clip some pine branches. If you don't have your own pine branch, you can do that. You didn't hear it from me. But you can also go to your local like nursery, and which is what I did because I didn't go out in the dark of night. I decided to do it legally. So I went to my nursery and I got this mixed garland. So this is something people use, around their doors or, down their stairway or around their mantle or something like that, which is all fabulous. But I thought this would be super fun to kind of put down the table. So we're gonna do that. It's a little messy, so just, if you're a clean freak, just lots of deep breaths.
But it smells wonderful.
It smells wonderful. And then I just have a bunch of boards. Again, now I don't know if we're gonna be utilizing these, but we could. So just, and just to have an assortment of old boards and things like this. Now, I probably wouldn't put food directly on these, probably lay some parchment paper down or something like that. But, just to have, them kind of scattered around. So we're going to see how it all comes together. We'll see which ones we use and don't use or whatever. So it's just, this was the whole idea of this, was we're all bringing what we have. Just a few things of what we have. It's not everything. And we didn't exactly even know what each of us was going to bring, but we're just bringing some things together, bringing what we have to the table, and we're going to see what comes together. So that's really the fun of it. And then I have this really fun longboard too. So that's like its own party into itself. And then, have no idea if I'm using this or not. I just love it. And then these are like wood blocks that have no purpose other than they look super cool. And so they might sit on the table, they may not. I just love them. Napkins, I couldn't find my cloth napkins. And that's okay. If you have a quick get together, just, gosh, you guys, how many cute paper napkins are around right now?
I buy them whenever I see them.
Yeah, and these actually have a cloth-like feel to them. So they're lovely and they're in season, with the holiday colors and all of that. Different kinds of bowls and vessels. This is just an old strainer, but I thought maybe we'll use this. Maybe we put some nuts in it and it's kind of tipped over on its side, or some fruit or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't really set super well, but it's cute. Like, it needs to be used, right? And then we have this, something you could do in this if you wanted. You could put glasses in here, maybe put your silverware in them. Have the forks and knives. Something that Teri, we did something a long time ago, and that I have been so inspired. I've always been inspired by Teri. But just having something like this out with the silverware in it throughout the holiday, and then it's just easy for people to grab. And so even having it at one end of your table with the silverware in it, with the napkins in it, and then people can just pull, and then you can add to it as you need it, but just keep it out for the holiday. So again, that's from Teri. Just bowls, mismatch glasses. I just actually got these from a vintage market I went to, and the thing that inspired it was they only had one of these, and I was like, I want all of these, but there was only one. So my daughter was like trying to ease me into just do one of each, and so I did it. It was a big thing for me, but I did it, one of each. And then just another kind of fun thing for elevation. Gosh, this could be just pretty. It could be used as a trivet if you have something hot, which we do have something hot, so that could be what sits on top of that, or just use it for glasses, something like that. And then just candles. I think you could have, candlesticks. You could have little tea lights, the twinkle lights, any kind of light that you add, I think just adds just kind of that ambiance or whatever to the table and makes it really homey, even during the day or at night. So just think about the lighting and how you want to be using that. Other than that, then we have the food stuff, which we'll talk about later. But now we're just going to clear this off. and we're gonna build something. We don't know exactly what it's all gonna look like yet. That's the fun of it. So stay tuned and see how the grazing table comes. This turned out so beautiful. I love how, I love how we each kind of just brought something to it, because I think everybody who has it, kind of puts their hand to it, puts their own kind of flair. So I don't know, Terry, do you want to kind of walk us through sort of what we did to how we started out?
We built from the bottom up, so we put like that part, you mean? Like, I love the paper on the bottom. That's so fun, and I love that you personalized it. And the bigger the table, the more you could put on there, right?
Yeah.
And then I love that we put your boards on the bottom so that they give you that foundation flat to put all your fun things on. The greens getting put on there, not sticking off too far, was good. And that just kind of lent itself to the whole, that's your background to build on. So a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of things that pop off the green are great. I think it's just really pretty from that angle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it smells great. Some of the food we have the soup on there with the cheesy yum that Terry says, and the basil. So that was yummy. So we just had some soup. So after our hard work of
We earned
putting
it.
this together, yeah, we earned it. So we had some soup.
And some breadsticks.
Yeah, and we did have some of the breadsticks. Those were pretty amazing. Definitely recipes that you'll want to try, and things that you can make that can be served, that can be sit on the stove. Just the soup can just sit on the stove, and you can keep it from day to day because you said not to put the pasta
Right.
in, so keeping that separate.
I generally make a double batch so that I'm free to do a spontaneous dinner party, and I just have the two separate things off to the side.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we were talking about for this. So not only was this fun to have you guys over here, just you were like both of you creative genius, just off the charts. And so coming together, we each brought something to the table. We each had an element that we just grabbed, and we knew initially it was pretty free flow. I told you when I invited Jerry, like I think we just want to do like this nibble board, and you know, it's more. And Terry's like, is it really a board, or what did you say? No, it's like
It's a grazing table.
It's a grazing table. So it's not a nibble board. It started off as a nibble board. It is now a grazing table. But how beautiful is this? Because thanks to you guys, not only was this really just a fun morning, cooking soup together, making the cheese straws, and you bringing just these creative, beautiful things, adding your hand to adding the words, the joy, the peace and love, and just the beautiful things that you brought. We strung some cranberries. You brought the cranberries. Terry unwittingly chose to string them.
She volunteered.
She did.
Respect for those. Those
Yeah,
are hard.
that was. But they add so much. I love that.
I really wish I'd done it sooner.
And we have your delicious pecans on there. So amazing. And I mean, just the dried fruit and the nuts and cheese and some of the salami, different things like that. So it is really beautiful. And the hope is that I'm going to actually, now that this is set, and I feel like you guys can take some of the elements that you brought, you can take them back home, and I could probably just re-put a few of my things in. Even just leaving the basics on there are still really beautiful. And the table is set for me to invite my neighbors over. And we were talking about this earlier, that like having you guys over it's super fun. I mean, we created this together, so that was fun. You're just fun to be around. You know, it's comfortable, it's safe, right? Doing something like this and then inviting maybe people you don't know as well, your neighbors, that can sometimes be a little daunting. But honestly, having this set so beautifully, like I want to share it. And can you share your idea? Because you were saying yesterday, she's like, well, how are you actually inviting your neighbors? And I told her, we text. And then you were like,
It's a little more special than a text. Because the whole point of the season is to do something a little out of the ordinary, brings you a little more joy to your normalness, right? And not just what you have already. So it's just the idea of, let's do, like, maybe grab some to-go cups or party cups that are kind of cute and just put it on your neighbor's porch and say, come fill this with some cheer and celebrate with us, and just come by around whatever time and drop that off. And if they don't see it, then there's a front door. You could text them then and say, there's something for you in the front door. But this is just a little more special than just gathering, outside and you happen to be fine.
Yeah, I love it. I know. Does it inspire you guys? Like, is this?
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
I mean, and how fun, I think, just coming together. I mean, because I think this is fun for us.
Mhm.
And so even if maybe you don't feel as inspired creatively or whatever, you have creative friends. So, you invite one or two creative friends, you have them bring a few things, you provide, some of the main staples, make the soup or whatever, and, then see it come to life. And I guarantee it's going to be something that gives you the confidence to then want to open your doors to others. And honestly, even just, this could stay for multiple days, just taking the cheese off, repackaging the fruit and things like that, and then putting it out again. So the basics can probably stay for sure. I mean, the greens will last, several days, they'll stay fresh. So it's a perfect thing to kind of do. And, and not only for just the holidays, I think this is a great thing because right now everybody's so busy. But even after the new year, doing something like that, and maybe it's not the green garland, but then it's other clippings from your yard or whatever you want to do, some branches or some potted flowers or something like that you can add, just to make it kind of fun like that. I was thinking about, not only were we each of us bringing something to the table, if you will, for this feast, but on kind of a broader scale, thinking about when we bring just what we have to offer as far as our gifts and talents to something bigger that the Lord has in mind. And I mean, have you guys in your life had an experience where you've just kind of had something that you were able to do that you brought, and you saw something really beautiful kind of blossom from that? You guys have any stories like that?
Well, the Christmas card that I just told you my friend sent me, for years we would go up and visit that family up Northern California and just have Thanksgiving, and our kids would play together, and she just wrote me a note just saying thank you for all you guys did, because there was always the husband always work a project into it. Can you guys help us with our floor? Can you help us with whatever? Which was fine, we didn't mind. But she wrote back and just said, you guys were the hands and feet of Christ to me over the years, because you were just always so willing to do all the things that we kind of needed help with. And it's just not instead of like, well, that doesn't sound fun, or I'm busy, or I can't, it was just like, we're friends, we're more than friends, we're going to do this because we're family. They didn't have family around local, and we didn't either, so we would always get together because we weren't. And then it just turned out to be a beautiful friendship over the years.
I love that. And just doing what you can, even though it seems kind of a simple thing, but to them it was probably,
it meant a lot because their skill set wasn't there, or their so it was nice.
Terry's husband is a plumber, so
He doesn't do plumbing. It's true.
It is nice when you have that odd plumbing issue. But
First date. Yeah.
I mean, I think about even with Salt and Clay, and you're not only so creative, but you have the technical know-how to help on just so many levels. And I mean, that's what I've seen and have loved about just the strengths that all of us bring to create something. It's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts is kind of what we were talking about for this. And we each have some, none of us have everything to bring, and that's not even fun. But when we all can come together and then see, and usually there's a surprise when that, I mean, even this, like how beautiful, I didn't know, the things that you were bringing, and the thing that you were bringing as well. I mean, I knew about the nets, but I didn't know about the other things. And so, but just to see how this comes together, and that's the same too when we just step in, and whether it's just, even if you're not sure what your gift is, like what you were talking about, what you and Lance do, is just to step in and do what you can. Like, I know I can do this, I can help with that, it's easy for me, or whatever that is. And so yeah, I think that's super encouraging, and that's hospitality. Not only opening our homes, but extending that hospitality to outside of our own walls. But I love that. When I was thinking about when we, gosh, how many years ago now, I don't know how long it's been, when we did a shared gathering and talking about kind of preparing our hearts and our homes for the holidays. And, we hear a lot about that. But if there was one thing, and it could be anything, I mean, it could be a spiritual thing, a practical thing, it could be whatever, or maybe one of each. Like, so maybe here, I'm going to rephrase that. So, one spiritual thing, one practical thing to prepare hearts and homes for the holidays. So what things have you done that you can share?
Let's see. So a spiritual thing would be reminding myself to dial it back and remember what it's about, and remember that it doesn't have to be all
perfect, and it's very humbling to do when you have this level of what you think you're going to do and then what you can pull off in your reality. But the idea being that it's not about all the things we attach to Christmas. It's not about all the things we attach to that holiday or our expectations so high. He gave us a gift, and all he's asked us to do is celebrate and acknowledge him and give him the glory. So whatever it takes for me to get my doors open or to have people gather around my table, that would be my goal. My number one goal is that I want to acknowledge this season, and I want to do it in a way that is honoring and not crazy. With 3 boys, there was a lot of crazy moments with all the things I tried to pull off back in the day. I can't even believe what I tried to pull off. And they humbled me quite a few times on that. So I learned the hard way. And they're all great entertainers now. They're all great hospital guys in their homes now with their wives. And then the other practical thing I would say is, if I am going to open my doors, and if I am going to, I say open my doors, it's not like whatever, but if I am going to have people over, I try to do it back to back, especially when I have littles. Like, I can't have the house all clean and perfect and then do it again in 10 days. That is just insanity. So I would do like a Friday night party, and then I would do all of the same menu and do a Saturday night party. And I would be done. And it was like, enjoy the rest of the season with my family and have smaller gatherings, but nothing major, so that their life wasn't all about be perfect and, we can't throw the football in that room right now, right? So that kind of thing, like, that was my practicalness. Like, what can I do to make my life a little easier, but still make all my guests feel really special? And that's what I do.
I love that.
Any thoughts?
So every year, right after Thanksgiving, usually the next day, I clear out the house. I have the kids go somewhere, I have my husband take them, or while they're at school, and I turn out all the lights, I light my candles, and I spend the whole day just getting the house ready. I put on my worship music, and I bring out all of my, decorations, and I take the time, and I'm very slow and methodical, and I enjoy the whole day. And it's like, that's preparing me both spiritually and practically, right? Because I'm getting my head cleared out and welcoming the season, and like you said, remembering why, the reason, and then when the kids come home, they're so excited because the house is decorated, and we can start, celebrating together. So
I love that. And music is so huge, isn't it?
Especially to me, music is it's really important. So I have it playing all the time.
Well, and also for us as creatives, maybe non-creatives as well, but I know for me as a creative, it's so life-giving to make something beautiful. I mean, I love, and then just to be in that space, and then to have music and the candles. I mean, we are the atmosphere changers, whether you're creative or not. We can create an atmosphere in the home. And I mean, there still could be chaos going around, but if the home is, there's the candles and there's the music and, there's a pot of soup on the stove, that goes such a long way with the kids. I mean, and I don't have kids at home anymore, so it is different now. But kind of,
they're going to remember is all
they are.
Stuff. They're not going to remember how pretty this was or that. They're going to remember how it felt.
And you know what? That's a huge. So kind of piggybacking on what you're saying about dialing it back. I mean, if I could wind the clock back when the kids were little and knowing what I know now, I probably would have done things differently. I probably would have dialed it back more. I wouldn't have had the expectations so high and been such a, crazy person. And because that was, I mean, there's a lot of years where it was just, making everything just so. And my poor kids and husband, and then you open the doors and then everyone's, well, I'm smiling. They're still, they're still reeling. But I mean, I think that I, Lord willing, have grown in that regard. And I actually just finished a book by John Mark Comer called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And couldn't have finished it at a better time. Just about simplifying, and it was inspiring and convicting all at the same time. So, but I think simplifying instead of doing, I mean, this is, I think, a perfect example of what I would like to do to prepare my heart and home for the holidays this year is not have everything on me, but making opportunities, trying to create opportunities where I'm inviting people in, and maybe it's not the typical where everything is all done, but then they're invited into the process. Maybe they're invited in to bring something, and maybe it's not a full dinner. Maybe it's just, bring a bottle of wine and some crackers and a cheese that you love, and somebody else can bring something, and we're all contributing to it. So for me, I'm inspired by this idea, and it's something I want to incorporate this year. The other thing that I am doing this year, and it's because of the Advent study that Helen wrote, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you can get it at Salt and Play, but just having Advent become more of a practice, that's a newer thing, and I don't know if I'm doing it really well or not, but I am trying to slow down and have more of an extended time in the morning. And I will light a candle, and I'll put some music on, and I'll either read, a devotional, or I'll open, this devotional that Helen wrote, or just, read in Luke. I'm going through Luke right now, so just reading the Christmas story, and maybe it's just a few verses, but just slowing that down, trying to slow my heart down. Even now when I enter prayer, something that's kind of new that's helped is that I begin my time with the Lord with just like 2 minutes of silence. And if that's not a practice that you have, it's new for me, 2 minutes feels like a long time. To just be silent and not start to go through your list for the day and, oh, I got to go pick that up at Gap or whatever, and then have just a simple time with the Lord. It's not a lot of study right now in this season. It's more devotional, maybe meditating on a couple verses, and then just closing with another couple minutes of silence. And it's amazing how that has kind of it's helped to set the pace for the day. Some days I'm better at it than others, but that's new for me, and I like it. So I'm hoping to keep that as a practice, and maybe just if I can slow down enough to see and be aware of the moments where someone just needs some love. Because when I'm rushing and I have my agenda, I don't notice that, or I don't care. And so, I think just being more aware. So then, at the end of the day, when I can think back over, Lord, where did I see you today? Were you able to use me today? Where did I see you show up today? And I need to slow down enough to see that. So, I know, that's kind of where I'm at. Well, this has been so much fun, you guys. I'm inspired by this. I know that so many that are watching this are going to be inspired. And whenever you're seeing this, whether it's before Christmas or what, just know that it can be, just invite some friends in to create something beautiful. Have everybody just contribute a little something and to bring it to the table. And then just take time to gather together and just encourage one another in the Lord. And it's so good. I can testify by carving out a little bit of time to spend with those that I really care about, how life-giving that is. And just so grateful for both of you. Thank you for taking that time to do this.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
All right. Love you guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.